horror fans, once again, it's the Horror Miser Monty G here to do another movie review, and today we're going to review the movie Boar. Now, Boar is a 2018 Australian horror film written and directed by Chris Sun. It is about a young family finding themselves in the Australian countryside being hunted by a bloodthirsty wild pig. This film stars Nathan Jones, John Jarrett, and horror veteran Bill Moseley. Now, if the name John Jarrett sounds familiar to you, yes, it's the same guy that plays Mick Taylor, I believe, in the horror movie, who plays in the horror movie Wolf Creek and the TV series. Now, Nathan Jones' name sounds quite familiar to me, and when I looked him up, I actually found out that he was actually in WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. He spent some time there. I believe he was part of the Undertaker's Ministry trope or group. He was in the WWE, but he had a fairly nice stint in the WWE. And of course, we all know horror veteran Bill Moseley. Yes, Chris Sun, the director, he's directed several other Australian films like Charlie's Farm, Daddy's Little Girl, and Come and Get Me. And now here is his fourth feature film, Boar. So let's get on with the review of Boar. Now, we see in the beginning, after we see an attack of the boar running a run shot in the Australian outback, we see a family, Bill Moseley's family, he and his girlfriend, along with her daughter, her boyfriend, and her son, they're heading out to their family's farm to see her brother. And that's the first scene that we get. And later on, we get to see John Jarrett, his character, Ken, and his friend Blue. They're basically talking about, and they're talking about things. Livestock has been missing, fences are being knocked down, and it doesn't take them long to find out that there is a gigantic, oversized boar that is running roughshod throughout the Australian outback. And it's up to them and everyone else to try to find out how to stop this beast before he just destroys everything in its way. Now, I'm pretty sure the first thing when this film came out, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, I thought I've seen this before. Yeah, that's right. That 1984 horror picture, also an Australian horror picture, called Razorback. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's basically had the same premise. You have an oversized, big wild boar, but this one was a razorback pig, running roughshod through the Australian outback, and killing and eating everything in this way. And this film is similar to that premise, but that's the only thing that we have similar to these two. It's filmed in Australia, it's an Australian horror film, and we got a mutant pig on the run. But that's where the whole thing ends. Now, when I'm watching this movie, it seems like we have two different movies or two different parts. In the beginning, we have, like I said, when we're watching this movie, we have kind of two different parts. We have and his friend Blue, and they're busy doing what they do best. They rag on each other, they talk bad about each other, but you can see that they're truly good friends, and that you can see the camaraderie that they have between each other, and they're going out having a good time, and then all of a sudden they encounter this mutant boar that they see while they're out there. And that was one interesting good part about the film, is seeing how well they communicate. And you got to give Jeff Jarrett and the guy that plays Blue, I believe his name is, he's an Australian actor, Roger Ward. Yeah, Roger Ward. They actually do a pretty good job together, and that was an interesting part of the film. You actually care for them, and I was, very happy about how that particular part of the movie starts. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said when we get introduced to Nathan Lane and their family. Now, like I said before, they're coming to their family's farm, and they have been there in a while, and we don't know anything more about them other than what we see in the beginning part of the film. And I would say at least by the second act, we get to see their family. We get to see Nathan Lane. I mean, not Nathan Lane. Nathan Jones. Yeah, that's another Nathan Lane. We get to see Nathan Jones. He plays Bernie, but don't call him Burn, because this guy's huge. I mean, he's huge. Very big, typical Australian guy. He's like a teddy bear when he wants to be, but when he wants to get tough, he'll have to kick your ass. There's one scene where he literally just throws this guy out of this woman's restaurant, out of this pub. Now, as I stated before, I actually like Nathan Jones in his role. He's not, like I said, he's kind, he's cuddly, he cares about his family, he cares for his sister. He puts up with Bill Moseley's Bruce. Plays a little rough and tough with his sister's son, and really just gives the evil eye to his niece's boyfriend. But their characters are not really developed well enough for us to care about them. And it's not the same with Bill Moseley. I mean, like I said, Bill Moseley, he tries to do what he can with he's given, but even he can't bring any life or any joy to the way Chris Dunn's script is written. It's just nothing. There's really nothing there. We don't get to learn anything about them. We don't get to see how they interact with each other. They seem to do more than rag on each other than anything throughout the film, but it doesn't give us enough meat on the bone for us to care about them. Another aspect I like about the film is Sasha, that's Ken's daughter, and the people at the pub, where we see a lot of Australian actors in the film. We see, let's see, there's Ernie Dango, he's there. Simone Buchanan, she's in this one. Steve Bixby, and Chris Howard. You can see how much they are very good in front of the camera. That's when the film is very good, is when we interact with these people, when we interact with Ken and Blue. That's when the film is at its best. And I like how well they are, how well they're good, how well they cooperate. I mean, how well they interact with each other. Yeah, their language can be a bit off-putting and can be downright offensive sometimes. But what I understand, that's how Australians talk. And I prefer the film to be authentic about showing what life is in that particular part of Australia, not nothing faked. I mean, put it this way: if somebody wanted to see a film about how we people in Philadelphia act and how we talk, I want it to be authentic, not fake. Because if I were to see that film, I says, wait a minute, you don't talk that way, you don't act that way. Who put this film together? Now, show me true life, true ways Australian people act, how they talk, and how well they are. That's why I didn't mind it. And now let's talk about the Boar. Now, I give Chris Dunn and his production team, I believe it's Slaughterhouse FX, credit. They actually did spend some money, at least on the practical effects of the Boar. The Boar does look good, from what I understand. They use animatronics on the Boar. I guess for his close-up shots, they did use animatronics. And we do get some nice, decent kills from the Boar itself. Now, keep in mind, this film, the budget was like $3.4 million. And that's kind of a really small, so you're talking about a real low budget film, but they did a pretty good job on the practical effects and the animatronics on the Boar. So I guess that's where the most of the money is spent. Also, we get some nice POV shots from the Boar's perspective when he's on the hunt. I think they use some type of like orange for his eyes, because I don't know how Boars hunt or how their visions are, how they see. I don't know if they're like, there must be some type of colorblind, or they focusing on heat signatures based on how the POV shots were of the Boar. But I like that. I thought it was very ingenious to show it from the point of view of what the Boar is doing. Unfortunately, when it comes to far away shots, they use terrible CGI. I mean, just terrible CGI. I don't understand. I guess because of the low budget, I guess he couldn't afford it. But if you're not going to have the money to do CGI, then don't use it. Just continue to do with the practical effects. I understand that they were trying to show faraway shots of the Boar and how the Boar runs and how fast he can get to one place to another by running. But come on now, CGI effects were terrible. Now, I have a few other problems with this film. One problem is, again, the Boar. Now, I'm pretty sure that if it were true that you had a mutant Boar in real life, and he's as big and big and probably smelly as they come, I don't think that the Boar can get away without making out a sound. Because at one point we don't see the Boar, but we can definitely hear him, because we hear his hooves beating, we see the smoke from the snot coming up when he gets next to a victim. I don't think he can sneak up without anyone hearing him. Now, I understand there was one part in the film that was supposed to be a jump scare. I'll talk about that later. But there's simply no way in the world that a Boar can go from one spot to another without no one hearing it. It got to the point where almost I could tell in the film, oh, here comes the Boar, and there it is right there. It's like, I mean, it's like, let's build some tension, build some suspense. I guess as they were trying to do with the boar just suddenly appearing out of nowhere without making any sound. But I just don't think that's possible. If a boar that big and a boar that large can go anywhere without making a sound. Another problem I have with this film, and I'll try not to spoil it, there is a point in the film where we see the boar is hidden behind some bushes, but yet this particular person is just going to sit there and stare at it. I don't get it. If I were that person and I saw a giant-ass boar, I say about more than 3 to 5 feet from me, I'm all an ass. There's nowhere in the world I'm going to sit there. Oh shit, look at that fucking boar. That's the biggest fucking... No, I'm out. No, come on, guys. I understand he might have been in shock or he might have been just amazed at the size of the boar, but come on now. Run your ass away. That thing can kill you. And another part I didn't like about the film, there is a part in the film, and again, I'm not going to try to spoil anything, but just to say it's something similar to the movie that came out earlier this year, Revenge, where people who saw Revenge probably know what I'm talking about, that there's simply no way in the world that a person can survive that type of injury. It's just humanly impossible. You probably would bleed out. You'll either die from blood loss or you'll probably die from shock. There's simply no way in the world that you can survive an injury that devastating. I don't care how big and tough and rumble you are. You just can't survive it. I just found that totally unbelievable. So, we got some good acting once again from John Jarrett and Roger Ward. We got some good acting from all those Australian TV actors. Ernie Dango, Chris Hayward, Simone Buchanan. You know, even like I said, we got some good characters from all the Australian people, but unfortunately, the family part just didn't give it any much meat or any much credit. I like the practical effects, I like the gore effects from the movie, but unfortunately, the bad CGI, the whole ninja boar thing, where the boar can sneak up on people and not make a fucking sound. It's like, that's totally unbelievable. So it's okay, but oh well. Look, the Horror Miser is going to open up his vote, and I'm going to give Boar 1.5 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, I'm just going to give Boar 1.5 out of my 5 gold coins. I actually read, or I saw some reviews, they actually considered this a classic Australian horror film. I don't think we were watching the same movie. If you want to watch a classic Australian movie, I won't say a classic, but if you want to watch a good Australian horror movie, watch Wolf Creek, both part 1 and 2. Watch Rogue. I just saw that the other day. I might actually do a review on that as well. Those are excellent Australian horror films. This one is not. Now, I was actually to see Boar on Comcast On Demand. I believe it might be available on Amazon Prime or Netflix. I'm not sure. But if you do get a chance to see it, you know, if you want to see it, go on ahead. And if you did, tell me what you thought about it. Did you think this was a pretty good Australian horror film? Is it actually better than Razorback if you saw Razorback? Or if you think like I did and this was just well, what are you going to do? Leave your comments down in the comment section. Tell me what you thought about Boar. Well, that's my video for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and share because it does help the channel out a lot. And if you're new here and this is your first time, please hit that subscriber button. Ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be down in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.
1, 2 friends coming for you.